Insurance services offered through the Wealth Training Academy and Insurance Made Easy LLC. Investment advisory services offered through Sophos Investment Incorporated, an SEC registered investment advisor. Sophos is not affiliated with the Wealth Training Academy or any other entity listed herein. The opinions in this commentary are those of the author and may not necessarily reflect those held by Sophos. This is for general information only and is not intended to provide specific investment advice or recommendations for any individual. It is suggested that you consult your financial professional, attorney, or tax advisor with regard to your individual situation. Comments concerning past performance are not intended to be forward-looking and should not be viewed as investment advice. Tax services are offered through the Wealth Training Academy and the Tax Advisory Group, LLC. Tax services offered are to help business owners and individuals create sound tax planning strategies that are custom suited to their individual needs and objectives.
There's plenty of talk about retirement recovery plans. On today's show, let's talk about making a successful plan for you. Some best practices when we come back.
And now, the Wealth Training Academy. Your retirement questions are answered here.
Shielding and protecting and growing the money that you've worked so hard for.
Ed Storer offers turnkey retirement solutions under one roof.
We handle every aspect of a person's finances.
The Wealth Training Academy with Ed Storer.
Welcome to the Wealth Training Academy. Consumer advocate Dave Perkins here talking with the Shield, the wealth coach. He's Ed Storer, president of the Wealth Training Academy, a very turnkey firm serving folks for years in Greenville and the surrounding area. And Ed can certainly build that retirement plan for you. He and the team, because they are a turnkey firm handling tax, investments, insurance, Medicare, estate planning, all in the same office. Hello, Ed.
Good morning. How's everyone doing this morning?
Happy weekend. How's your weekend going so far?
Excellent. I cannot complain, and no one would listen, so we don't.
Well, you're right there. And are you going to, after we get off the air, have you got a honey-do list to work on or anything like that?
I'm going to make the assumption, and you know what happens when you assume, that everybody, being that we've been kind of closed in and isolated, has way too many honey to-do lists.
Yeah, I think so. And too long hair, right? Except for me and you.
There you go.
Me and you.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
we're in pretty good shape, aren't we? I'm my own barber and have been for years. So hey, I'm essential.
I shave it off once a week, so it's all good.
Well, this thing we're in now, and I don't know, we definitely entered a bear market. Who knows what it is at this snapshot moment in time? But for many, it was their first bear market. A lot of younger people. So to them, we say, relax. You've got time to recover. Now, if you're 60 or older, slightly different story. So in this segment, we're going to open up the show with a segment outlining some best practices to plan a successful retirement in the age of coronavirus. And of course, Ed, it's all about income in retirement.
It is all about income. That's actually one of the areas that we specialize in. Look, here's the thing. When you go into retirement, you are your own business owner, and you need to start thinking like business owners, entrepreneurs. The first thing that you look at is income. Where am I going to get the income? Where am I going to create the paycheck? And there are some incomes that are kind of guaranteed, one being Social Security. There are hundreds of ways to file for Social Security. You need to understand which ones are best for you, maximizing the Social Security payments for you and your spouse. Keep in mind that when one of the spouses passes away, the other spouse remaining gets the larger amount of the Social Security. So planning Social Security is extremely important. It's actually going to be one of your biggest assets, or could be one of your biggest assets in retirement.
Oh, yeah.
Some of us get pensions. There's things that you need to understand and ways to file for pensions. If you're lucky enough, you can get a pension. Sometimes the pensions companies will give you a lump sum. Probably there's going to be spousal options in there. So before you claim your pension, you need to sit down and have a conversation and understand the tax ramifications and how much money would be left over for you and your spouse. And then, well, there's investment income. That's where you take some income off of your 401k, your traditional IRA, hopefully your Roth, maybe rental income. maybe other paying assets or dividend paying programs. There are strategies to help you maximize all these investments. And you need to make sure, first and foremost, that that income is guaranteed for you and protecting for you and your spouse.
Yeah, I'm not that familiar with pensions. I've never had one. If you're offered the lump sum, what do you think? Best thing on the pension with the lump sum to make sure that it's still going to be your money to pass on to heirs? Do you do something with that? I mean, what is that the best opportunity, I guess?
It really depends on the individual, their income they have now, the income they're going to be receiving in retirement, and health status. So just selecting an option and not taking all that into consideration is huge. Also, let's face it, taxes are going to go up. So we need to really pay attention to taxes when we start taking these incomes. Most financial advisors will sit down and talk about diversification, the difference between the stocks, the bonds, and the variable annuities and so forth. Unfortunately, that's not proper diversification. That's proper diversification in an asset that's at risk. Mm-hmm. That's why we employ the basket strategies, guaranteeing income first and foremost, reducing your taxes along the way on that, creating income that you cannot outlive. Then, once you get that done and designed, then you invest to grow the assets beyond tax situations and unforeseen medical issues, and or maybe for the next generation. But you have to make sure those assets are set up via tax-free or tax-deferred. So a pension is usually taxable. So you have to calculate that and how you're going to be taking your Social Security and so forth. So staying invested is good, but if you're in that 60-year-old mark that we talked about in the beginning, you need to really look at the income for yourself. And that's what it's all about. But staying invested is very important after the income. So I will always say, first get the income, get your taxes under control, then grow your assets beyond the tax situation that you're going to pay and medical expenses that you're going to foresee in the future.
Absolutely. We're talking about retirement in the age of coronavirus with Ed Storr, and that's something you can have Ed and his team take a look at your situation and make good recommendations, and eventually could lead to building that retirement plan for you. 800-563-7030 is how you reach Ed. 800-563-7030. Ed, I love the way you call retirement. Think of it as a business, and of course you can think of you and your team as business partners in retirement if you have that relationship with Ed and the Wealth Training Academy. And you mentioned investments, and I know investments, of course, the risk level is altered, or it goes, the risk goes down a little bit, or it's adjusted with age and in retirement. What about now in the age of coronavirus? Are you tweaking the risk level further?
The answer is yes, and the answer is no. Mm-hmm. The folks that we work with, if we're working with you and we are sitting down and we've put together a plan, we already know what your risk is. We've already built into your plan, this issue that we're facing now. Mm-hmm. Actually, the folks that we're working with who are already our wealth members are taking advantage of this down market like they've never seen before. Yeah. There's opportunities, there's ways to convert to Roths, things that unfortunately we never had the opportunity to take advantage of prior. We now have the opportunity to take advantage of because they've already guaranteed their income. They've already created, and they've looked at their Social Security. They know when the best time to take it. They've gotten their pensions figured out. They've got all that secured, and they know that for 2 to 3 to 5 years, there is no thought process. It's a business plan. Just like at some point in time, the income and the risk that's associated to that you might want to say, I'm willing to take more risk now because I know I and my spouse are taken care of because you've put that plan together to grow the assets for the next generation. And that's needs to be part of your plan also, legacy planning. That's why I say we need to look at our retirement planning as a business, because at some point in time, every business owner exits their business. Either they're giving it to the next generation and or they're selling their business. Well, guess what? I haven't met anybody getting out of this alive. So you need to make sure that you do legacy planning. You need to make sure that the taxes that are going to be involved for the next generation are going to be huge. We've already talked about in the past how they've changed the rules and regulations for the IRAs, and everything has to come out now in 10 years. So it is more crucial than ever before to make sure your estate planning is done correctly, your wills and your powers of attorney, your trusts, and the legacy planning that you're doing with that. That's all part of a crucial plan of your retirement. So it's taxes, investments, insurance, and estate planning, income first, tax reduction second, fees associated to that, and then legacy planning, because somebody's going to get it. So why not make sure that you pass it to whoever you want to,
and that they speak nicely of you after you've gone to your reward.
Well, there's an old joke. Do you know your great 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 grandfather?
No.
Well, that's because they never left you any money.
That's right. That's right.
There's reasons why you walk through these castles and so forth, and there's big pictures of all these people above the fireplace because they've left them generations of wealth.
Exactly.
And you can too. It can be. I mean, here's the thing. If you need to do a plan, which I really think everybody should have a plan, and you don't have a plan, next 10 callers, give us a call. We will do a full-blown financial plan for you. We'll take into consideration your taxes, your investments, your insurance, your estate planning. We will look at the whole thing. We've seen people charge $1,000 or more in Greenville just for a one-page evaluation. Because of what's going on with everything with the market, we're going to do taxes, investments, insurance, and estate planning, the whole evaluation, your fees, your taxes, everything. We'll do the full-blown plan for free, no charge, for the next 10 callers. Give us a call.
It's an excellent opportunity for you to have that conversation and get with Ed and his team at the Wealth Training Academy and look ahead to what your retirement will look like, taking your individual financial situation and crafting a plan based on that. And that's done with a turnkey firm, the Wealth Training Academy, because they are also, they have people who handle taxes and estate planning, as Ed was just talking about. You're leaving your legacy, insurance, investments, Medicare, looking ahead, a forward-looking plan that certainly looks at taxes, where you'll be with that, providing good risk protection from all the retirement pitfalls. And as we open this segment, guaranteed income that you can't outlive. And that's the big fear, is that people are afraid they will outlive their money. Well, get that plan together with Ed. 800-563-7030. 800-563-7030. That's for Ed Storer and the team at the Wealth Training Academy. And that's the show, the Wealth Training Academy. What's coming up next, Ed?
What to do with your stimulus check and or your income tax refund. When we come back, some things you need to look at in your retirement portfolio.
He's letting the clock run out on his Social Security to age 70 for maximum benefits. And here comes the Roth conversion. He's locked in for income for life. He's got some outstanding coaching with that annuity plan. He's created his own pension as well, and it looks like he's going to go all the way.
Play your best retirement game. Call Ed Storer and the team at the Wealth Training Academy. 800-563-7030. 800-563-7030. Ed Storer. 800-563-7030. Welcome back to the Wealth Training Academy. And by the way, the website is wealthtrainingacademy.com. You can learn more about Ed Storer, the president, and his team there. And you can also submit a question. If you click on the contact tab, you can submit a question that we may just read on the air because we close the show out every week with questions from listeners. And you can also, same tab, the contact tab, you can enter your name, email address, and phone number is optional. And just say, hey, please include me in Ed. This is good. When they say please include me, they're going to be getting some very helpful informational emails from you periodically.
Absolutely. Again, no obligation. We want to share the information that is out there. The things that we're putting out are about taxes, investments, insurance and estate planning, business owners, structures, things that people need to know about without being sold.
Well, that's great. That is great. And you can do that. And of course, if you have a question for Ed and you'd like to hear your question on the air, it's the same site, wealthtrainingacademy.com. Click on the contact tab, and it's just that easy. All right, the stimulus checks rolling out. Incrementally, unfortunately.
Some get them, some don't.
Well, yeah, and
Still waiting.
Some get them early and some get them late. The average federal income tax refund this year alone was $3,143. That's the average. Depending on your income, couples could receive as much as $1,200 each in stimulus. So what do you do for it? How can you use that to help prepare for retirement? What are your thoughts on using it or some of it to pay off debt?
Well, I love the idea of getting rid of debt. First and foremost, there's no reason to go into retirement with bad debt. So if you're getting a tax refund, personally, and usually for our clients, after about 2 to 3 years of adjusting their taxes correctly, they're not getting a big tax refund. And let me explain why. Tax refunds are you overpaying your taxes?
Yeah.
Now, there's a difference between receiving this stimulus check and overpaying your taxes. I have often asked people, they'll come in, they'll have $4,000 or $5,000 that they get every year from a tax refund. And I go, what's that for? Well, that's my savings account. That's just extra cushion of money. And I go, would you do me a favor and give me $10,000?
Let me hold it for you.
Let me hold it for you for a year.
Right.
And I won't pay any interest on it. And I give it back to you in and around the next half year.
You know, that is so true.
I'll hold it for the next 15 months. How's that sound? I haven't had anybody take me up on that offer.
Nobody's taking you up on it, but they did take dear old Uncle Sam up on it. But you're right. You're letting the government hold your money.
The idea of tax planning is to pay as little as possible to the IRS and you keep the rest. So you should be putting money in your pocket and pay maybe just a teeny bit in taxes, maybe owe a teeny bit in taxes, but not thousands of dollars. And that's where proper tax planning comes in. But paying off debt is extremely important. Before you go into retirement, you should have a debt reduction plan. You should have non-essential debt gone.
What about mortgage?
That's what you should.
Should you get rid of that too?
Depending on the individual. If you can't deduct your mortgage and you have excess cash around, then get rid of your mortgage. If you can deduct your mortgage, and again, see, that all goes back to tax planning. And that all goes back to how you're getting your income, as we talked in the first segment. If you can increase your income by reducing the debt that you're paying out to somebody else, then obviously do that. But if you're able to deduct it, then that may not be the smart way to do it. If you can't deduct it, then let's get rid of it. And that's why planning is so important. Another thing we could do is these health savings accounts, especially if you're still working. Taking advantage of health savings accounts are extremely important.
That's such a win-win-win, it seems like, the HSA.
Yeah, I mean, it allows you to put funds away. You get to deduct from your taxes the dollars that you put away. The account does earn interest. When you take the money out for medical expenses, there are no taxes. So we have a very unique way that we have trained our wealth members that are pre-retirees how to maximize a health savings account, where you can actually start utilizing it then to start paying for your Medicare expense. That's why you need to have your Medicare specialist working with the tax person and the investment person, because it requires all three people. So when you look at your retirement and you start looking to think about retiring 5 years out, that's when you need to start doing planning. And the healthcare plan is a great idea. Another thing that you could look to do is overfund an IRA.
Oh, yeah.
Here's the thing. If you're not contributing to your IRA, it's called an individual retirement account. We use acronyms in our industry, IRA, but it's called an individual retirement account. And it's designed for when you're older. You're able to put money away, sometimes pre-tax. Hopefully with the Roth IRA, it's after tax. But in the dollars that you're receiving back from the stimulus check, you probably already have these IRAs in place. Using some of that stimulus money to pay for a conversion from traditional IRA to a Roth IRA definitely makes sense, because with the potential of your account on the investment side down, you're buying things at a lower price. When they recover, and they will recover, when they recover, then all that money is tax-free. So if you have some dollars that are coming in from the stimulus and you convert, you're going to have to pay some taxes on the conversion. You could use those dollars to pay for that conversion, and that would be very good use of the money.
Well, you're getting a tax rate bargain now with the rates where they are, and of course everyone agrees they're going to go up.
Oh, taxes. Somebody has got to pay for these stimulus programs that we're putting in place now. Let's get serious. The middle class American has always paid the taxes.
Yeah.
Has always burdened always carried the burden. The super rich, they hire teams like us to. I'm serious.
No,
come on. They hire teams like us to take care of them. It's called a family office. Google it. They hire teams like us to pay less in taxes, investments, insurance, estate planning, less in fees, and so forth. And unfortunately, the poor, well, there's no money there for the government to get. So it's on the middle class America who pays the highest in taxes. And you're going to pay it. So convert from traditional IRAs to Roth. And what a wonderful way to take advantage of, especially if you're getting the stimulus check and you really don't need it. Start applying it.
Speaking of IRA, Ed, also, too, with the stimulus money, and you still have an opportunity through July 15th to fund your IRA for 2019, since the tax filing deadline was extended.
Absolutely. Yeah, and conversions. And you can put it in Roth.
Mm-hmm.
We'll talk a little bit more about that down the road, but even evaluating your 401k. Look, everybody, if you're working, you usually have a 401k, hopefully, and look at contributing as much as possible. If you received a large check from a tax return, that means that you could have potentially put more money in your 401k. If you're not itemizing, then you really could put more money in your 401k. Every 401k is different. Every participant's different. But you need to look at the valuations of your 401k. If you're 59 and a half and older, by the way, you need to look at maybe repositioning your 401k out from those very expensive mutual funds. And there are fees inside there. People say there aren't. There are. Again, ask Google. Google knows all. But Google will tell you that there are hidden fees in 401ks, where if you use a fiduciary, they're required to tell you the fees. A true fiduciary even will tell you all the hidden fees inside your insurance costs and so forth. And that's what we are. We're fiduciaries. But you need to evaluate your 401k, because expenses and costs will reduce the amount of dollars that you have available for retirement. And as we said, if we're getting these stimulus checks in, we're getting large large tax returns in, you've been wasting money. The stimulus check is designed to help you with something for your future. And your future will matter when you have a proper plan. And so what I'd like to do is for the next 10 callers right now that have $250,000 and more in their retirement programs, and let's put a plan together. Let's put a plan together for your taxes, your investments, your insurance, and your estate planning. Let's look at all the hidden fees, the costs, the built up insurance expenses, ways to reduce your taxes for the next 10 callers right now. Give us a call. If we don't answer, leave a message. But for the next 10 callers, we'll do a full-blown plan that we've seen charge $1,000 or more in Greenville here alone. That they'll charge $1,000 for an evaluation for a one page. We're going to put a full-blown plan together. Next 10 callers, give us a call right now.
Excellent opportunity to meet with the team. You know, when you have the Wealth Training Academy on your side with retirement, you've got Ed and a team really on your side, because they do handle tax, investments, insurance, Medicare, estate planning, all in the same firm, the Wealth Training Academy. And what Ed is doing is offering straight talk, common sense planning. And instead of financial double talk and a sales pitch, he's talking about a plan for you. And here's how you can get it going for you. Call 800-563-7030. And Ed will get back in touch with you and set up a consultation. 800-563-7030. And of course, if you're more comfortable with a virtual consultation, that can happen. And talk to Ed. Let him translate that complex financial world into clear instructions. An excellent chance for you to get a true practical financial review at no cost or obligation. You have nothing to lose. The number is 800-563-7030. 800-563-7030. It is the Wealth Training Academy. And more of the show. What are we going to be talking about next, Ed?
You've decided to retire during a pandemic. Woo. Well, retirement planning has changed a little bit for you. We'll talk about some of the tips and tricks that you need to watch out for when we come back.
And now a nightmare retirement consultation.
Yeah, no pain, no gain, right? No risk, no reward, right? We're going all risk, see? We're going to put everything you got in the market. You're going to love it.
Don't walk, run from that office and go to your future retirement partner with your best interest in mind and with a plan that's customized for your risk tolerance and that can help increase your financial confidence in retirement. That's Ed Storr at the Wealth Training Academy. 800-563-7030. 800-563-7030. How's the market doing?
It's fine.
How's the market doing now?
The same as it was 5 seconds ago.
Stop worrying about market volatility. A good retirement plan will keep you from panicking when and if there's ever a panic, even during a correction or a mild recession. Get that solid retirement plan with lifetime income and protection from pitfalls. Get in touch with Ed Storr and the team at the Wealth Training Academy. 800-563-7030. 800-563-7030. Welcome back. It is the Wealth Training Academy, and consumer advocate Dave Perkins talking with the president of the Wealth Training Academy. The Wealth Training Academy is not only the name of the show, it's the name of the firm, and a turnkey firm it is. And Ed Storr can be your shield, your wealth coach. Get that team on your side and build a retirement plan. 800-563-7030. 800-563-7030. Well, for those, and I really feel bad for those who had plans to retire very soon, and then coronavirus hit. And it's not going to be particularly easy. More than ever, you need a team on your side through retirement. Man, do you ever. Seniors and pre-retirees can take advantage, though, of some flexible and lenient new rules on retirement accounts. So we're going to look at some of the adjustments you can make to maximize your portfolios. You mentioned earlier in the show, you're going to have the reliance on Social Security. So, I mean, it's critical to plan that properly.
True. Social Security, as we've talked about before, usually is one of the largest assets that a retiree will have. And unfortunately, they don't look at it as an asset. They just look at it as something that keeps coming in. But planning with Social Security is very important. It just happens to be one of, again, the largest assets most people have. Unfortunately, Some people have lost their jobs, so or they've gotten downsized, or the businesses have gone, and or they've lost a big chunk of their 401k, and or they've lost a big chunk of their IRA because they put all their money in at risk in stocks and bonds and in mutual funds and so forth. So Social Security is going to become a bigger planning tool than ever before. Many baby boomers might want to think about maybe staying employed longer. Here's the thing. You can claim your retirement benefit as early as 62.
Mm-hmm.
The drawback is the earlier you claim it, the less you're going to receive for you and your spouse going forward.
And no mulligans on that, right?
There is no mulligans. There used to be a mulligans, but they've changed the rules and regulations. They changed the rules and regulations for Social Security applying at the beginning of 2020 before all the COVID-19 happened. They changed the rules and regulations there. So things have changed again. Planning for Social Security and how to take it, when to take it, taxation on your Social Security, the penalty you could potentially pay taking it prior to full retirement, that all needs to be taken in consideration and calculated. It just doesn't make sense sometimes. But it's the biggest asset some people will have, and you have to understand Social Security and what to do with it. So make sure planning is part of your Social Security planning is part of your retirement plan. Big time.
Oh, yeah, big time. And, you know, the CARES Act offered more leniency in withdrawals or loans from your retirement account. So in some unfortunate situations where they need to look at that. Could you break down for us a little bit of that, Ed?
Absolutely. By the way, this is if you go to our website, we send out weekly commentary, and I know we've talked about this, but go to our website under Contact Us, put your name and email address in there, and say I want to be part of your weekly commentary, and we'll give you information on this also. We put this out to our wealth members, but if you want to be part of our email system, put that on there, because all these rules and regulations are changing with the idea of a loan versus a withdrawal in your 401k, as we were talking about. Some people should look at, do I take a loan or do I take a withdrawal from my 401k? The CARES Act has changed the way you can take money out of your retirement account or your 401k. They've stopped the 10% penalty for this year if you're under age 59 and a half to take money out. You can take up to $100,000 out, but the thing is, you have to pay taxes on those dollars. Versus a loan, you could take the money out and then you pay the money back. There is no taxes on it. So deciding on which way you need to look at for yourself is important. Again, planning, need I say more? Planning is important.
Oh, definitely. And of course, the plan can evolve. Your plan certainly can in situations like this. And taking advantage of, for instance, the CARES Act, which we're covering some of that in this segment on the show. The show is the Wealth Training Academy, and Ed Storr is president of the Wealth Training Academy. You can reach him by calling 800-563-7030, 800-563-7030. All right, we've talked about Roths. Is this the perfect storm of opportunity for Roth conversion?
In my opinion, yes. This is the perfect time to look at Roth. If you haven't heard me on any of the other shows yet, if you haven't heard me during this show, taxes are going to go up. Roth distributions are tax-free. The conversion that you would have paid even at the beginning of this year to go to Roth is down, because usually your investment assets are down right now. That portfolio, that fifth basket out there, is down. So great opportunity to take advantage of the Roth, converting to the Roth. Also, let's face it, some of our income might be down, right? Mm-hmm. We may have gotten, I think the fancy word now is furloughed instead of laid off. That's furloughed.
Hopefully that means they'll get asked to come back.
Come back. That's the idea. But so your income potentially is down. Before, you couldn't contribute to a Roth IRA. Now, potentially, you can because your income is lower. It all depends on your income and how much income you and your spouse make if you're married. It's adjusted gross income based on the dollars that you can contribute to a Roth. However, there's always the backdoor Roth, and a lot of people don't know about that. So there's this sneaky little thing called backdooring a Roth, and with the stock market being down the way it is, now's really an opportunity to take advantage of the back door. And we can, give us a call. We'll talk about that and help you through that on how to take advantage of the Roth.
Well, you know the strategy, Ed, you and your team do, and also you keep up with the changes. And it's not just the CARES Act. We haven't been that long getting off talking about the Secure Act. And things do. The retirement universe does change, and you keep up with these changing rules. Another good reason to have you on your side, you and your team, to clear up any confusion.
Absolutely. Look, if anyone thinks that retiring is easy, it's tough. That's why they do it. That's why only the elderly retire. The youth couldn't handle it.
Right.
you got to have some wrinkles on you to retire.
Right.
Look, you've got to experience some stuff. And here's the thing. And I'm goofing and trying to make light of this, but it takes a team. It takes a team. People need to look at you need to look at your retirement as you are now running your business, running a new business. You need to look at your budgeting. You need to look at your tax situation. You need to look at your investment situation. You need to look at your estate planning, your legacy planning, the fees, the costs, and so forth. I'm telling you, I've been doing this 29 years. In order to take people to and through retirement properly, you have to have a team. Now, most folks already have that team. They look at that team, but unfortunately the CPA and the enrolled agent, the investment person, the insurance person, the estate planning attorney, the consultant, they're not working together. We work together. All cohesive, integrated wealth management system. That's what we've built. It's called the Financial Wealth Shield. It's a system that we monitor, we look at, we plug in, and I'm going to do this for the next 10 callers. Again, we did this earlier, but I'm going to do another 10 callers. For the next 10 callers, right now, give us a call. We will do a full-blown financial review. Your taxes, if you haven't done your taxes, we'll get your taxes done. We'll do a full-blown tax review. We'll do a full-blown investment review. We'll do a full-blown insurance review. We'll look at your estate planning. If you're a business owner, we'll help consult and take you to and through the idea of legacy planning and evaluating how you need to transition your business. We'll do this for free. We've seen it charge $1,000 here in the Greenville area for a one-page evaluation. We will do it for free. Take advantage of this. Next 10 callers, leave us a message. If we don't answer the phone immediately, leave us a message. We will get back to you. I promise. Next 10 callers, give us a call.
And it's 800-563-7030, 800-563-7030. For Ed and the team at the Wealth Training Academy, as Ed mentioned, you've got advisors charging up to $1,000 for a one-page. This is a full-blown financial review. And even mention your taxes if you haven't filed yet for 2019. That's in here. For the next 10, take advantage of it. 800-563-7030, 800-563-7030, and learn how Ed and his team can custom build a retirement plan for you, a holistic plan. With Ed and the Wealth Training Academy team covering everything from building an income plan, investments, taxes, health insurance, estate planning. 800-563-7030, no cost, no obligation. A full-blown financial review offered to the next 10 with Ed Storer. It leads Ed to the information that he needs to craft your retirement plan. Income for life, the right amount of risk, and the proper protection from the pitfalls of retirement. It's all offered with this. A long-term plan. And Ed and his team as your retirement partners. We mentioned earlier, Ed did, think of retirement as a business. Nice to have a retirement business partner and a team behind you with this. Next 10, no cost, no obligation. Certainly, if you're more comfortable with setting up a virtual initial meeting, that can happen. Ed will accommodate your wishes on that. A personal retirement plan from Ed Storer of the Wealth Training Academy. 800-563-7030. 800-563-7030. Great information every week right here on the show, The Wealth Training Academy. And we got one more segment here, Ed. What are we going to be doing?
When we come back, we're going to answer some of your questions that folks have been posing on our website. And hopefully, if you're one of our listeners and it happens to be your question, we'll answer it for you when we come back.
When should I take my Social Security? How much risk can I tolerate? I'm afraid I'm overpaying in taxes. Did I save enough? I can't keep up with all these rules.
There are a lot of components to your retirement, and it certainly can seem overwhelming. It's time to establish a partnership with a professional who can provide you with a written plan, the proper strategies, and then be there with you along the way. That's Ed Storer at the Wealth Training Academy. 800-563-7030. 800-563-7030.
It is the Wealth Training Academy, a weekly show loaded with information about retirement and great tips to set up your very own retirement plan. And who can set that up for you? Ed Storer, president of the Wealth Training Academy in the Greenville area, proudly serving for years. Ed and his team, shielding, protecting, growing your business and your wealth. And if you're an individual about to retire, let's say you're in the financial red zone, think of this coming retirement as a business and have Ed as your business partner. 800-563-7030. 800-563-7030. A couple of things you can do at their website, wealthtrainingacademy.com, and it's really easy and user-friendly. Click on the contact tab. First off, if you'd like to have your question read on the air, submit your question right there. So easy. If you'd like to have information periodically emailed to you regarding retirement, including definitely the changing rules of retirement, well, then indicate that right there on the contact tab. So easy. wealthtrainingacademy.com, where we are going to address some of the questions we've received, like this one, Ed, from Duncan. I'm 68, retired, and I receive Social Security. Do I still get the $1,200 stimulus check?
The short answer to that is yes.
Good.
The long answer to that is the checks are non-taxable and are based on your 2019 tax returns. Now, if you haven't already filed, they can be based on your 2018 figures. I know that's confusing.
It's from Washington.
It's confusing to try and figure it out. Yeah, but the checks are based on all income, which means the retirees' Social Security, those who claim other benefits, your retirement income, your 401ks, your pensions. It's all based on all your income that comes in. So depending on how much you receive will depend on what your income is, and it will depend on whether you've already filed your 2019 tax return, and or if not, they'll look at your 2018 tax return.
Okay. All right. Well, the good news is the short answer was good news, and that's yes to Duncan. I love this next question, Ed. I really, really relate to this person in Greer. I'm the guy who never opens his investment account statements because I'm scared to look. And because I don't really know what I'm looking at anyway. How do you help a guy like me?
You give us a telephone call and you set a time for us to have a 30-minute phone call with you and go over what, first and foremost, your fears are. Second of all, if you had a purpose to what you're attempting to do, there is no fear. Because when you have a purpose, you know the actions you need to do in order to get to your goal. Having a fear of looking at your investments means that you're not in the right investments. If not looking at your investments because you're already being taken care of and you have all the income in the world, that is an entirely different conversation. But For this person, it sounds like that they're just scared to look because they don't know what's going on. Have a plan.
Fear of the unknown.
Then you can look.
Yeah.
Fear of the unknown. Yeah. Have a plan. Now, if you're not looking at your investments because you're already taken care of, you have a plan guaranteed income, you know that you've put a plan together with a team, then that's a different scenario. But it sounds like this person is potentially going to retire, and he doesn't want to look at the investment statements. Look at your investment statements. Now's an opportunity. Maybe you need to reposition. Maybe you need to diversify. Maybe you need to take advantage of Roths. So there's so many opportunities there. Give us a call. We'll walk you through it.
Yeah, Ed, this person from Greer, I'm thinking about their initial consultation with you, and I'm picturing the truck pulling up to the front door of the Wealth Training Academy with the beep, beep, beep backup sound, and then unloading and bringing in wheelbarrows, all those statements he hasn't opened. You can sift through though.
Bring us your latest statement.
Yeah, right. You just bring the latest. The thing is though, you can break it down. We say all the time that when you talk to Ed, he really is kind of a financial translator and breaking things down in easy to understand terms. So, man, in Greer, you should call Ed. 800-563-7030. 800-563-7030. Okay, well, here comes one from Greenville. Does having a self-directed IRA mean I'm not paying any fees and I'm on my own for how I should invest?
No. Having a self-directed IRA does not mean that you're not paying fees. Fees are built up in every investment vehicle. Whether you're buying individual stocks for yourself, you pay for a transition cost. There's fees. There's something built up in there. Some of them are hidden. Some of them are in plain sight. Self-directed IRA just means you have the choice as to what you invest in. You can invest in multiple different things. You can invest in CDs, cash, whatever. The options are wide open. Unlike when you invest in 401k, you're limited to what they have given you. So your selectivity is very limited. But having a self-directed IRA also means you have the ability to make conversions. Hello, we've been talking about all this, right? So take advantage of that. Sit down with a tax person. I was going to say, sit down with your tax person. Give us a call. Sit down with our tax person.
You happen to have one, don't you?
I just happen to have a bunch of them. And find out if it makes sense for you to convert your self-directed IRA to a Roth. It may. It might just make sense right now. But self-directed means you're in control. You can invest what you want to, unlike a 401k.
Yeah, I just want to mention, too, that, Ed has tax people there at the Wealth Training Academy, investment people, insurance, Medicare. I mean, your questions can be answered right there in the office of the Wealth Training Academy. A question from Simpsonville. Are Social Security benefits that are withheld because of excess earnings returned to you in monthly installments when you reach full retirement age? Let me see if I understand that question. Let's say you opt to start receiving Social Security before full retirement age, and you're getting the checks, the money, but your annual income exceeds that $17,000 whatever limit for the year, and they cut you off for the rest of the year. Is that what they're asking then? Do you eventually get that back?
Well, the Social Security Administration says that after you reach full retirement age, we, the Social Security Administration, will recalculate your benefit amount to give you the credit for any months in which you did not receive a benefit because of your earnings. We, the Social Security Administration, will send you a letter telling you about the increase in your benefit amount.
Oh, so you got it back.
Yeah, you get it back.
Mm-hmm.
This is a really, really good question for the idea of pre-planning before you take Social Security. There are over 500 ways to file for Social Security. As we talked about earlier, it's one of your largest assets for retirement, and you need to plan with it. You need to have planning, not just take it, not just figure it out. You and your spouse need to really sit down and look this over before taking Social Security. If you've already taken Social Security, there are some things we can do to fix it. It minimize taxes along the way that you're going to pay. But Social Security Administration are good people. They're not planners. They're not tax planners.
They're not going to give you advice.
Yeah, they're not going. Yeah, absolutely not going to give you advice. And if they gave you advice, it's probably for the advice of go ahead and take the biggest check you can get, which may not necessarily be the right choice
for you. Yeah,
correct, for anybody. Mm-hmm. So making sure you plan is extremely, extremely important. That's why sitting down with a team and looking at everything, your taxes, your investments, insurance, and estate planning. If you're a business owner, your legacy planning and passing it on to the next generation and so forth is more important than ever. In today's environment of the pandemic, as we talked about, retirement planning has changed, and it's for those who are planning. So for the next 10 callers, the next 10 callers, leave a message. We will do a full-blown review for you, your taxes, your investments, your insurance, your estate planning. We'll look at the hidden fees and costs that are built up inside of it. We'll show you ways to cut your taxes that you're going to pay in retirement. We'll do a full-blown review, all taxes, all investments, all insurance, all estate planning. We've seen people in Greenville just charge $1,000 for a review. We will do a full-blown review for free. Just give us a call. That's how it starts. Next 10 callers, leave a message. If we don't get to you, give us a call, and we'll be more than glad to do this program for you.
Yeah, actually, and we're about to wrap up the show, so you'll be hearing from someone to schedule that consultation, and it can be scheduled virtually if you're more comfortable with that, but schedule it. 800-563-7030, 800-563-7030. But you got nothing to lose here. And for the next 10, He's offering absolutely nothing for full-blown financial review. And as he mentioned, Ed mentioned, some advisors charging $1,000 for a one-page. He's offering a full-blown financial review for the next 10 at 800-563-7030, 800-563-7030. This is for retirees and pre-retirees. It's common sense planning, straight talk. No financial double talk, no sales pitch here. We're talking about a plan for you. And really a checkup on your portfolio. Think of it that way, getting a second opinion. Sit down and get a financial roadmap put together. Ed and his team will translate that complex financial world into clear instructions. An excellent chance for you to get a true practical financial review. The number to call is 800-563-7030, 800-563-7030 for the next 10, a comprehensive financial review. It shows you where you are now, most importantly, a roadmap to get you where you need to be, and you have nothing to lose. 800-563-7030, 800-563-7030. Well, Ed, it's been fun, it's been informational, and I know that you have a huge honey-do list to check off for the rest of the day today. What are you going to start with? Mowing the lawn?
Unfortunately, I have to fix the shower.
Oh boy, that doesn't sound fun. The lawn sounds much more fun.
Yeah, unfortunately, we get. Here's the thing: in every situation, there are leaks. And there are leaks in your financial plan.
Right. And leaks in your shower. Well,
and there's leaks in my shower.
After you call everyone back, then you can check out that YouTube tutorial. We hope that you enjoyed the information today on the show, and we hope it was and helpful for you. And we hope you join us again next week on the Wealth Training Academy.
Everybody be safe.
Insurance services offered through the Wealth Training Academy and Insurance Made Easy, LLC. Investment advisory services offered through Sophos Investment Incorporated, an SEC registered investment advisor. Sophos is not affiliated with the Wealth Training Academy or any other entity listed herein. The opinions in this commentary are those of the author and may not necessarily reflect those held by Sophos. This is for general information only and is not intended to provide specific investment advice or recommendations for any individual. It is suggested that you consult your financial professional, attorney, or tax advisor with regard to your individual situation. Comments concerning past performance are not intended to be forward-looking and should not be viewed as investment advice. Tax services are offered through the Wealth Training Academy and the Tax Advisory Group, LLC. Tax services offered are to help business owners and individuals create sound tax planning strategies that are custom suited to their individual needs and objectives.